I'd like to welcome everyone to this regular scheduled Oscoda Township Board meeting for August 14th. If we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cummings?
Here.
Ms. McGuire?
Here.
Mr. Spencer?
Here.
Mr. Taser?
Here.
Mr. Sutton here. Mr. Worcesterbarth?
Present.
Mr. Palmer?
Here. Agenda, any agenda additions or changes?
Under the consent agenda, under J for finances, the WEX payments, that's actually a duplicate of what's already in the packet. So if we want to remove that,
Remove J.
Remove J.
yes, please.
Okay.
And I also just handed out to the board a total sheet for the first quarter. I sent it originally, but then had to update my spreadsheet, and it didn't get included in the packet. So you can see that my totals match what's on the graph for the first quarter.
Okay, very good. Anything else? All right, can I get a motion to approve the agenda with that change?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Spencer, support by Mr. Sutton. Roll call, please.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Worcesterbarth?
Yes.
Mr. Taser?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Palmer?
Yes. Next, we have a presentation on the high-speed internet broadband update.
Hi, my name is Cindy Schweidler, and I have an update on county broadband internet project. I'm on the Develop Iasco and Iasco County High-Speed Internet Advisory Committee. We just had our quarterly meeting in July. Under the direction of the Iasco County broadband consultant, Chris Shar, we have participated in a comprehensive process to find a right fit internet service provider, to apply for the Robin Grant, get the money for our county, and to determine which households are unserved or underserved. There's been progress in that on July 20th, the Robin Grant through the state of Michigan awarded a 4-county group that includes Iasco County and IGR, which is an initial grant recommendation submitted by Point Broadband. Point Broadband will be receiving $15.3 million for the 4 counties. They will match that same amount, and they are expected to expand services to about 6,600 people in those 4 counties. Final grant approval is expected to be announced in mid-August. There were 154 grant applications for the Robin Grant, and 24 were given the initial grant recommendation, so we did well. Robin is expected to be able to connect 100,000 homes in the state of Michigan by the time the project is completed. There are a couple barriers to the actual construction of the infrastructure. The first one is that the data available for inclusion in the grant was based on an original FCC map, an updated state Michigan map that included inaccurate data. The only way to improve the data on this map has been to challenge areas showing service that are known to have no service. The challenger needed to show that the served areas indicated on the map are in fact unserved and underserved. There's still time to do this. Fred Lewis, Plainfield Township Supervisor, has submitted a lot of challenges in his township. The Plainfield Township challenges appear now when the current FCC map is viewed. This means that these locations are likely to be served in the Point Broadband project. We need to do the same thing in Oscoda Township if we hope to be served by this round of grant funding. There's a small group of us in the township that would like to go out and do for our township what Fred Lewis did for his. The second barrier is one of permitting. Our advisory committee hopes that the Township Board and Planning and Zoning Administrator can come together and work out a quick and efficient permitting system for the fiber optic cable build out coming to our township. This is kind of where we are. I'm looking for information on people that are not served by high-speed internet. If anybody's got any information on that, I would really appreciate it. We're going to be going out into the township. We'll have the signs on our cars. The signs were attached to your meeting packet, so you know what they look like. And boy, any help in that way would be really appreciated. It'll get us further along to where we need to be. If anybody has any questions about this, I'd be happy to take them. I don't have a great depth of knowledge, but I know a lot about the project. But I'd be really happy to take any questions and find answers for you. So did anybody have anything prepared to ask?
It said in the document that 100,000 homes by the end of the project. When is the end of the project?
I believe it's the end of 2026.
So by 2026?
Yeah.
Okay.
And is that for the entire state, or is that for northern Michigan here?
That is for the entire state, all 83 counties.
Because it seems like northern Michigan here, we're kind of left out a little bit more than downstate, is my
Yeah.
experience.
Yes, we are. But that it's just, the money is there. We just have to make sure that we get everything straight, and then we'll be able to use it in a really good, effective way. So
What areas of Oscoda Township have you recognized a need in?
I know of two areas off the top of my head. One area is within Lakewood Shores, and unfortunately, Lakewood Shores has underground utilities, so it's a little harder to tell what's what out there. And then the other area is at the end of Loud Drive. So I know two areas for sure. We're hoping for input from anybody who might have, anybody who might read the paper or look at the meeting. I've got my information in the packet if you want to email me at the Develop by ASCO address. And I'd be really happy to get together and meet people in person or talk to them on the phone. I'd really like to get a good idea of where we are in our township.
There are a lot of areas like Sidtown and they just don't have anything out that way.
Yeah.
Along the western part of the township is another area. There are several small communities out in that area that children can't access.
We want to see if we can. I've learned that I think we can prioritize the ask for our internet service provider, and our idea is that we'd like to prioritize low-income families with children in the household and businesses. I have a friend who's got a business on Plank Road in Tawas, and she has real trouble with her accounting software because it needs to have an internet connection, and she's just like at her wit's end to use it sometimes. It's really hard, but we really need to prioritize home businesses that need an internet connection to thrive and survive.
Can we also, you mentioned Fred Lewis.
Uh-huh.
I would be curious as to what their permit looks like.
Oh, I really don't know, but yeah, that's a good question.
We can get with Fred Lewis and find out what they did over there in Plainfield for permitting purposes.
I don't think anybody's really taken that step yet, but maybe he's getting something prepared.
They must have something there so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we can send that over also to our planner,
Yeah.
John Icongelli.
Yeah, and then our advisor, our consultant, he's done other counties, so he would have information from other
If we
counties
could get some
too.
samples of that, that would really help.
Mhm. Anything else?
Cindy, would the schools have information for you on the service, like during COVID, when the students were at home trying to do homework or work with online stuff? Maybe they would know of certain areas that didn't have any type of internet?
I believe they would, I wanted to talk to you first, and then I was gonna make an appointment with Scott Moore to see if he could help us out. I really think prioritizing households with children is still really important for us to do, so. And then, if anybody needs to shoot me an email, ask, if something comes up, you get some information or have a question, please contact me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is our public comment. For this first public comment, we ask that you fill out a comment card. And do we have any cards?
I have none.
None? Okay. Next is our consent agenda. We have the approval of minutes for the regular meeting of July 24th, special meeting on July 24th, and the budget work session minutes from July 31st. I made a note, Mr. Sutton, that on the special meeting, it was stated it was at the library and actually was here before the regular meeting, so I think Mr. Sutton's making that correction. Any other comments on the minutes? Next, we have the finances, payment of bills. First is prepaid August 15th, in the amount of $11,061.09. Next is the check run for August 1st, $169,456.90. And the check run for August 4th, $9,038.17. And then the check run for August 8th, $67,535.45.
I noticed the janitorial services on that, on the last one there, but it looks like it skipped a month. Are we getting closer to being done with the janitorial service for that Ani building?
Yes, we are. In our finance meeting this morning, we went over these bills. There were a couple of questions that I had in there, and we reviewed those. And apparently, for that janitorial service, we were having some problems actually getting the bills. They weren't getting the bills to us on time. But hopefully, we'll get those paid up, and hopefully, this should be the end of it here within a couple of weeks. Knock on wood, hoping. It's been kind of a slow process through the VA to get the new owner approved, but I think we have that close at hand now. So. Any other questions on the payment of bills? Next, we have the C2R2 payments, the CWSRF payment, the tax overpayments, and the quarterly update that Ms. McGuire referenced. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns on any of that? If not, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Support, Cummings.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Wurstenbarth?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Taser?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes, motion passed.
Bill, one thing I
Yes.
just thought of, just so everybody, the board's aware, and everybody in the board packet, those two first quarter financial reports, I was unable to provide that information until the audit is done, because I have to have the fund balance for the beginning numbers for the year, and I can't get those till the audit is final. So just so you know, that's why it took so long.
Okay,
Yeah,
very good, thank you.
you're welcome.
Next up is the superintendent report.
No, it's subcommittee reports.
We don't have any subcommittee reports.
It says as available, but I do have a RAB
Oh,
update.
okay, sure. You have a RAB meeting coming up this week.
Yes, we do, exactly. We have actually a couple. So the in-person technical session will be tomorrow at 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, of course. It'll be at the library next door. And this will be a free-form discussion of topics brought up by attendees. So bring your questions. It'll be an opportunity to ask the Air Force anything you want. Then the actual Air Force RAB meeting is going to be on Wednesday, and it's from 5 until 8 p.m. at the United Methodist Church on West Wright Street, just where it's usually at, so in the usual location. That's it. Oh, and there was one other thing. There's supposed to be a check-in meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock with the Air Force. I think you're invited. Tammy scheduled it this afternoon. But unfortunately, I can't attend at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay.
So since I wasn't given an opportunity to weigh in on availability, I won't be able to attend. So
Okay,
just let me know how it goes down.
I will.
Thank
I
you.
will let you know.
Yep.
Okay, next, the superintendent's report.
Okay, your packet contains a quote from Standard Electric to replace light poles in the downtown area that have been damaged by car accidents. Unfortunately, our current light poles are no longer being manufactured, and the closest model was found at Standard Electric of Alpena. The invoice provided is for one light head, one hook arm, and one pole, and I am requesting to purchase 2 at this time, totaling $10,464, with an additional $50 per pole for an anchor bolt kit. I would ask that the board consider approving the purchase of 2 replacement light poles in the amount of $10,564. So we also, I believe Mr. Sutton has invoiced their insurance, the 2 car accidents, the one at McDonald's and one at Dollar General.
We have the claims open, but we have to have what we're replacing to get reimbursed.
Right.
So
we
we
have to
will be
receive-
reimbursed for that amount?
Yeah,
Yes. Both, the whole thing?
yeah, those are both taken out by automobiles.
Okay.
That was my only question, whether or not we were going after the insurance for that, so. Okay,
Good.
any other questions, comments?
Whose insurance is paying for it? Because
Theirs.
theirs is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, I guess I would make a motion to approve an expenditure of $10,564 to.
But I cut you off. I want to support it. But
Okay. I was like, am I saying it wrong again? Oh, jeez. To purchase two new poles from Standard Electric of Alpena. I don't know what account they're going to be paid for out of, but they will be reimbursed by insurance.
Do you want me to give you
Support.
the one?
Sorry?
What was that?
Do you want a number?
Yeah, if you got it. Go for it.
Okay, 101-250-956.000.
There it is. Still support that?
Still-
What
Yeah,
was
the
that?
account number, yeah, I don't know, but okay, sure.
Just making sure.
Okay. Just trying to keep
Thank you, Tammy.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Spencer, support by Mr. Cummings. Roll call, please.
Mr. Teaser,
Yes.
Mr. Wishbard,
Yes.
Ms. McGuire,
Yes.
Mr. Cummings,
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes, Mr. Spencer,
Yes.
Mr. Palmer,
Yes, motion passed. Next is a request from our Old Orchard Park for carts. Ms. Klein, do you have?
Yes. All right. Your packet contains a memo from our Parks and Recreation Director, Mr. Al Epsitas, for the purchase of 2 John Deere Gators and 2 Yamaha golf carts. After a consultation with a representative from Consumers Energy, it has been recommended to push the bathhouse improvements for 2023 out for the next 5 years. Therefore, the park is requesting to use capital improvement funds to purchase these vehicles in 2023. Originally, these items were scheduled to be purchased in the 2024 capital improvement plan. Mr. Epsitas is here if you have questions. He's reluctant, but he's here.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Apsides?
just,
I do. Sorry, Al. Just because I want to make you come up to the podium. Just kidding.
We only have 7 minutes left.
Hello.
Okay, I'm hurry, just one question. Actually, I just want to know why Consumers Energy, it told you to push out the bathhouse improvements for 5 years.
Ditto.
Recommended that we, until they find out what they're gonna do with the dams up and down the river.
That's what I wanted to hear you say on TV.
And my question was just, do you have those on hold? Because I know we had approved some for Bill, and then he called the next day.
Gators I do.
Okay.
They're through my deal, and they have to be ordered anyways. And the 2 golf carts, I talked to her Thursday, and they're still there.
Okay.
They're 2017s. I did look at 2023s, but the engines are smaller in the newer ones. She said you would want the old 2017s with the bigger Subarus, and I agreed. She wanted to know what we did with them. It's just through Titan Golf. That's who we've done before. So we're probably going to have an extra one that Gary and I are going to probably decide to talk with Bill and see if he wants it for his crew, because I know they were having a problem getting one of theirs. So we could make a donation to them if he likes.
Trade it for those picnic tables you talked about.
Yes.
I also noticed that you did order a snowplow for the 4x4
I did.
one.
I did.
That was
This couldn't come at a more opportune time, I guess, for the better lack of words, but we have had 2 cars that have went down on us. The one cleaning car, the transmission went out. It was an old police car. And the other car, we called it Old Red because it's a 1983 Chevy 1500, which we've pieced together for years, and it finally just died. So one of these Gators has a full cab on it, and I attached some pictures. They're stock pictures. They're not actually what it is. And it's got the heater and a wiper motor and the lights, and we can drive it on the road to back and forth to Footsite if we need to. And the other one's just a regular cab over. I looked at 5 or 6 different brands. I looked at Cushman, I looked at Club Car, I looked at electric ones, and both the electric ones were very expensive, but they were more than a year and a half out to get. The Cushmans especially, I really wanted the Cushman, but I couldn't get it. So we ended up with the Gator. We have a Gator now that we use that we've had for over 20 years, and that thing just still going. So it's a good brand. I looked at Kawasaki's, I looked at Bobcats, I looked at Yamahas, I looked at, boy, I can't even remember. I looked at so many of them. These were the best ones that we found, that we're going to do what we wanted to do in the park. So.
That Gator that you still have, are you continue to use that? Or will
Still
you
using it, yeah. Actually, a couple pieces fell off today, and we fixed it, and we were still running it.
So these 2 won't replace that?
They will not, no. We're going to have them all
Be in addition?
all in service, yeah. We are going to remove the 2 cars that broke down soon. Get them out of my park.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments?
That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, Al. Do I have a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve the purchase of 2 John Deere Gators totaling $447,81, and 2 Yamaha golf carts totaling $11,900.
I'll support that. We have a motion by Mr. Sutton, support by Mr. Palmer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Taser?
Yes?
Mr. Wushtabar?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes?
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Palmer?
Yes, motion passed. Next, under the resolutions, is the quarter business district amendments. This is the first read, so does anybody have any questions or comments on this? It'll come up again at our next meeting for final approval.
I'll make a comment on it. This is the first read amending the corridor business district. The major change in this amendment is the addition of gas stations with or without convenience store as a special land use permit. In both sections of the corridor business district, there's a F41 section, and there's also a US 23 section. So it's just putting that in the regulated uses in the amendment, in the ordinance.
Right. Any other comments, questions?
So this will allow for it to be in both districts?
Yeah, as a special land use.
Okay. Thank you.
Next, we have, under other, is a request for a beer tent from the Chamber of Commerce. Do you have any?
It's a request from the chamber. I believe that the last time they had a beer tent, they did fairly well, had great attendance at that particular Paul Bunyan Festival. They'll have the normal insurance, things like that the township requires as additional insured.
Is it required that our board vote on yes or no for a beer tent on?
It was the last time, yes.
Yeah, I think they need it
For the licensing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's township use, so we have to approve it.
Okay. Well, as long as they've got insurance for it, and I would make a motion that the Chamber of Commerce is allowed to have a beer tent on Furtaw for Paul Bunyan Festival, which is what I'm assuming this is for, yeah? There she is.
It is imperative for us to apply for the liquor license through the state, that the venue we're holding it at approves it. So since it's on Fruitaw Field, it is necessary that there is a document stating that you're allowing us to do this. That's the main reason. And Paul Bunyan Days this year is going to be amazing. We're starting it off with the parade. The chamber has partnered with Jessica, and she and I are having a great time planning a good party for everybody for 3 days.
Nice.
Okay. Well, I support that.
All right.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. So we have a motion by Mr. Spencer. Did I support?
Could I ask for an amendment
Yes,
on that
support.
motion? I would ask that the guidelines and regulations as specified by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission, including licensing and liability insurance, naming the township on the policy. There's
Oh, is the additional
regulation
insured?
on the licensing that is required through the liquor control, and that's one of the things is the permission to use the field. So we have to, so I would recommend that we put that in the motion.
Include that in your motion?
Okay. I think so.
I still support it.
Yep.
And do we have support?
Yes.
We have a motion by Mr. Spencer, support by Mr. Sutton. Roll call, please.
Mr. Taser?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Worcester?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes, motion passed.
Thank you.
Next.
We'll be there.
Next on the agenda is a resignation from our Planning and Zoning Director, Ms. Nicole Vallette.
So, Ms. Vallette has taken a position elsewhere and for family. Her last day will be August 18th. I would like to say that she brought a very positive attitude and always had a smile on her face, and I know everyone will miss her greatly.
Yes.
Yes.
I had the opportunity to work with her. She was on the committee that hired her, and I had the opportunity to work with her for her old time here while I was on the Planning Commission. And sorry to see her leave, but she has other concerns with her family downstate, and fortunately she was able to find another position, and her husband was able to transfer, so I wish them nothing but the best of luck in their endeavors moving forward. So I would make a motion to accept her resignation with regrets for Ms. Nicole Vallette. Her last day will be August 18th.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Palmer, support by Ms. McGuire. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cummings? Yes. Sorry. Mr. Taser?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Wurstabarth?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes, motion passed. Next.
Excuse me, Bill, I do have a question. I know that she hasn't been in Township Hall quite a bit
I
this
believe
week,
she
right?
requested to take her vacation time. So she's actually on vacation.
It's vacation?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
It's vacation time.
What? Yes, yes.
Is that what her timesheet says?
We haven't had to turn one in for that?
Oh, I imagine she pre-filled it out if she's not here.
She hasn't filled it out yet. Her last day is not until Friday.
Okay, all right.
She had requested that vacation time. Next, we have a letter of support. Would you like to describe what that is?
I can address that also.
Okay. All right.
That comes out of the empowering Northeast Michigan communities that have been going through that housing up to Alpena. So this is a letter of support. They're submitting for a grant to do a regional housing assessment study for 11 northern counties. That includes Iosco County. I believe the information will be beneficial for our county and for our township on a regional level, which will help define our housing needs now and in the future. And so this grant is a $50,000 grant that they get to pull together all the communities on what their housing needs are, properties that are available for housing, things of that nature, and it really isn't costing us a dime, so.
Not to say that I don't support it, but how many more studies do we need? Obviously, we need housing in Oscoda.
This one is headed by MISTA,
Oh,
so they're the lead.
okay. I make a motion that we write the letter of support.
Support, Sutton.
We have a motion by Mr. Spencer, support by Mr. Sutton. Roll call, please.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Mr. Taser?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Wurstabarth?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes, motion passed. Next, we come to our final public comment. You don't need to fill out a card. We'll start over here. Anybody in the left-hand side have a public comment? In the center. Yes. If you would state your name for the record, please.
Deborah Rauch. My first comment is, last week there was a meeting concerning parks, and I don't remember them mentioning the Riverbank Park where the people park to get out, you know, when you're coming down the river and your kayaks and canoes. And just this last weekend, once again, that park was packed, and there was nowhere to park. And I don't understand why we're not discussing, you know, the issue with that, because it happens a lot where, you know, people need to be able to park there, park a second car to get back to Whirlpool, and seems like that would be, you know, a priority, because that's a big business here for, you know, kayaking and canoeing. Okay, second, thank you to Tammy for getting me a street sign in Hull Island, because Oceana Street had no sign on it. Well, it had a homemade sign. And now we have a sign, and we have a stop sign, which was nice, because I always kind of wondered who was supposed to stop there. So, okay, let's see. I'm going to be going home, so I will be watching the movie, or the movies, the entertainment on Zoom, or I guess it's not Zoom now, whatever, on ICTV. And I'm still disappointed that we don't have Zoom so I could participate. I would really like to be able to. And I'm also disappointed that Mr. Sutton would not meet with me. And it'll be an election year coming up, and I think the fact that you refused to meet with the taxpayer and talk to me, it's just another reason why I don't believe you should be our clerk. Let's see. Hull Island, I guess there's some news about that. I don't know if I'm supposed to know about it or not, but I guess there's going to be some meetings about the back of the island land, the 52 acres. And I would hope that if there is a meeting for the residents of Hull Island, that you guys would maybe consider using Zoom so that people that don't live here can participate in it. And let's see, Paul Bunyan Festival, I know it's in September. I kind of wish that you guys would move that back to August so that people can come to it during the summertime, you know, make it part of their family vacation. It used to be like one of the highlights of the year for us when we were younger, and it would be nice, and because so many people get back into school and their kids have activities and things on the weekends, football games, soccer games, all that's going on, and they can't, you know, come up. I think it would increase the attendance for it if it was in August. And last but not least, Mr. Spencer, last meeting you told me that you're not the Facebook police, but a couple of, maybe about a year ago, you guys did hire somebody, the attorney, to look into social media. So I guess you kind of are the Facebook police. You know I'm right.
Thank you. Yes.
Hello, Kathy Woosterbarth. A couple of things. First, the exposure assessment for the PFAS blood testing and urine testing. That is going pretty well. There are 505 people enrolled so far, 370 households, but there are very limited adolescents. So it looks like there's not much interest there. And so the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is going to be looking at outreach on that and ideas maybe through the school or other ways to get parents information and that sort of thing. So I do want to remind everyone the phone number to enroll if you haven't yet, because some people are forgetting to do that. The phone number is 844-464-7327. And of course, it's not too late to enroll. And again, they will continue that project until interest wanes. And if we stop enrolling ourselves, then they might stop the project. But there are thousands of potential people that could be enrolled in this project. And again, take the opportunity that this is to give yourself some health information that not many people can have. All right, the next announcement that I have is for the RAB meeting that's occurring this week on August 16th on Wednesday. That's going to be held at the United Methodist Church at 5 o'clock. And we are going to be having a VIP guest. And his name is Greg Gangness, and he is the gentleman that the township and the county and others wrote support letters to for these additional IRAs that are going to, that are being under consideration. Now, his position is, and this is a long one, so forgive me, he's the new chief of the BRAC Management Division of the Air Force Civil Engineering Center. So he's the installations director. And so the Air Force official that manages the site here at Wordsmith, that's his boss. Okay, and he's a new guy, and we're pretty happy about having a new guy. So I told him that on Friday when when I was able to talk to him that we're got a lot of hope for him. So I want to note that there's still no approval for those additional IRAs that we have been talking about and looking at that will keep the contamination from flowing off of the base. So if you want to stop by and talk to Mr. Gangness and say hi to him and mention to him that we still want those, that'd be great. All right, the last thing is there's a fly-in breakfast on Saturday and Sunday, the 19th and 20th at the Wordsmith Museum. and hosting between the museum and the Rotary Club of Oscoda. And there's going to be great pancakes and sausage and blueberry pancakes. So come on by. It's in the morning from like 9 to 1 or so. So, all right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the center here? On the right side. Okay. Next is board comment. Mr. Cummings?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Spencer?
I've got a couple things. We had a boil water advisory in the last week, and it affected, what was it, like 10 residents? Nine residents. And so we thought, what an excellent opportunity to make use of the emergency broadcast system. And apparently the 911 people put it out for the entire county of Iosco instead of the 9 residents therein. So there were some issues, but this was the first go of it. They just dropped the template in. And so we figured that there might be a couple issues, and so the boil water advisory was technically only for 9 residents, but everybody in the county got it. So we apologize for that, and they will be refining that process so that that won't happen again. Next is Tammy and I are working together to purchase a device to record board meetings that are not the main board. So for planning and zoning and all the other boards that meet, EIC, et cetera, we're going to try and get some kind of device in there to record those so that residents can come back and watch them later. And I've picked out a device, and we just have to test it out a couple of times and make sure it's going to work. It will require software, so there'll probably be some minor training for the boards, and we'll deal with that as we go. But we will start recording those and tossing those up on the website, I think, is where we're planning on putting them. Fingers crossed. Yep. As another citizen walked up and asked me the other day about the bike path, and they're really excited to see that. And they said, it's an awful long way to ride a bike from downtown Oscoda all the way out to Old Orchard Park. Maybe there should be a repair station or two on that bike path. And I thought, you know what? That's worthy of a mention. So kick it around in your minds. Next time the bike path talk comes up, maybe, they're not horribly expensive. The tools dangle from steel cables. I looked up a couple of cool little kiosks that we could put along that bike path. And if somebody's bike breaks down, there's some tools there to help fix it so that they're not walking 20 miles back into whatever. There it is.
Those in Traverse City.
I'm sorry?
They have a few of those stations on the Traverse City Trail.
So there's a precedent for those to be available. So maybe we should look at putting some of those out there. And last but not least, the Paul Bunyan Festival. That's the chamber. We can't tell them when to have it. They tell us when they're going to do it. So I'm not opposed to it, but you'll have to get a hold of the Chamber of Commerce to do that. I think Galen Brainowell is the current director. No? She is. Who's the new director?
George.
If you don't mind.
George is the new.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't met that person yet, so. All right. And that's, you saw the 911 budget was put into the board packet under informational for your review, and I'll go over the meeting minutes at the next board meeting for that, and have a fantastic Monday, what's left of it.
Mr. Sutton, do you have a comment?
After the meeting.
Just a comment to respond to Ms. Roush that I refuse to meet with you to discuss Facebook, not township matters. I don't see Facebook as a proper way to utilize township dollars. Apologize if that didn't meet your need, but as somebody who's been a big advocate of saving money and what we do with our time, I don't think discussing Facebook in the township office is important.
Mr. Westerbarth.
Well, I guess I should have done this at the subcommittee, but from the last meeting regarding the Cedar Lake Improvement Board, I have officially sent an email to the chairman of the board that I will be pursuing the public process to dissolve that board. So in future meetings here, I'll be investigating what we have to do with the attorney to start the public meetings on that. And again, it's due to OMA violations really since inception of that board from 93 or 96, and continued FOIA issues, as well as this board only collects money from riparian property owners. There are no public tax dollars from the general pool of Oscoda Township or the state of Michigan or the federal government that's been collected. It's only a tax from SAD districts that have been set up for the property, riparian property owners, basically waterfront property owners. And it makes really no sense to me why we have a board of 6 appointed government officials and 1 appointed riparian by those government officials managing this money on behalf of the riparians. I think it would be better served to have the riparians manage this process as Vallette and Lake does. And then they come to the township to assess the property owners for the monies that are spent for the betterment of the lake. So I'll be coming back to the board with starting that process.
Okay. Mr. Taser.
Yeah, I just want to let people know that the MISHDA MI Hope Grant applications are available in the clerk's office. Michigan Hope can assist eligible households who have experienced financial hardships with repairs for upgrades to items like their roofs, windows, doors, insulation, heating and cooling, electrical, and water heaters and appliances. The Oscoda County Housing Commission will review each application and award the grants. For questions, or if you need assistance filling out the online application, please contact the housing director. That is Kathleen Murphy at the county. Her phone number is 989-362-4212, or by email at kmurphy@ioscocounty.org. So this is a program that can really help people in need to replace those items, and it goes through the Oscoda County Housing Commission, but there are application cards in the clerk's office.
Okay, Ms. McGuire.
Just a reminder, summer taxes are due on September 14th, so you have about a month to get them in, get paid. If you can't pay them by that date, then each month you don't pay it. It's a 1% interest, and you still have till the end of February to pay it. If you need to know what the total amount is, you can call our office at 989-739-7471.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just have a couple of comments. I'd like to remind the board members that I need to get the superintendent evaluations back as soon as possible, if you could. Put them in my mailbox at Township Hall, or bring them to the next meeting, or get them to me however you would like. I also wanted to make a note that we still are looking for a senior housing board representative. We need somebody on that senior housing board for the senior center in Oscoda. There was a water leak, which I think was what precipitated the boil water. And I want to mention, Mr. Spencer, I received a text on my phone before the emergency alert thing went out on TV.
Yep.
Yeah.
And on my text, it said for the, what was it, Hawthorne?
Hamilton.
Hamilton's
McNichol.
in McNichol. So it said the specific area in the text message that I received. So I immediately thought of Mr. Spencer, thinking that, okay, this system seems to be working. It needs a little tweaking, but they got that out quickly because it was before the emergency alert system went on TV. And that particular leak, according to our engineer, has been leaking for some time, and the estimate was there were 2 quarter-size holes in a cast iron pipe. It was leaking approximately 100,000 gallons of water a day. Now this is, I think, according to what they said, by the evidence when they saw the way the sand had been washed away, had been leaking for quite some time. So if that had been leaking for a month, we'd be looking at 3 million gallons for the month that would have been lost. So hopefully this repair will make a dent in some of our water loss. These are the kinds of things that are just nearly impossible to find until somehow it percolates to the surface. And I don't know exactly how they found this, because This was,
Jimmy reported it.
I reported it.
you, good for you.
Somebody called me, I was driving, somebody called me and they didn't know who to contact, so I said I'll take care of it and called in.
Well done, well done.
Nice.
Thanks, Jake.
We need help from everybody to report these leaks when you see them on your property or anywhere where there's standing water where it shouldn't be. Please notify our water department, so. That was all I had. So if there's nothing else, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.